Hi, I'm Ross Pratt, CEO of RailBlaza. We set RailBlaza up 8 years ago as primarily an export company. Prior to that, I'd run another company which I started with my father back in the early 80s and took through with some other partners. We had 100 staff in 2005 when we sold the business, and I did a 3-year contract with them and then had a year off prior to starting RailBlaza in 2009. The original concept of the mounting system was started as I needed a mount for the back of my quad bike on my lifestyle block, but very quickly felt that it was something that would fit the marine market. And I am very strong in the marine market from the previous company we had, and know it very well, so that was the market we pushed first. We're quite lucky actually. What happened is that we launched the company right in the middle of the GFC, and it was a time when people couldn't afford to buy boats and were sort of selling their boats and still wanted to go fishing, so kayak fishing took off, and our product was absolutely perfect for kayak fishing. We go with the distributor model because we have the margin in our products to be able to do that. It doesn't suit all products. Some products can't generate enough margin to allow a distributor to sell their products, but we do, so it works very, very well for us. And good distributors are extremely important. You can get caught up with a bad distributor, and it can really waste a lot of time. So the larger markets, ultimately we will end up with an office in those markets. That was a turning point for our previous company, particularly in the USA, but if we do that, it will be probably tied in with our existing distributor. Our brand is unique from a point of view that prior to 2009 the word RailBlaza didn't exist. It is a totally new branding, unique with all the colours we use and everything like that. So the brand itself now is a global brand and is known particularly, within our field of market, and it's a good catchy brand, and it's a brand. It was important when we actually used the brand. My previous company, we had marine in the brand, which kept us to the marine market, so we had to change the brand for other markets, whereas with RailBlaza it can be applied to any market and it's not stigmatized with being a marine product. Two of our major competitors globally are Ram Mount in the USA and Scotty in Canada. Both companies are very, very strong in the USA, and good companies, long established companies, and formidable opposition, but we have just kept our focus and kept pushing. The thing they have going against them is they're both quite big companies and they're very slow to react, in fact, that's probably a little bit unfair with Ram. Ram actually is quite quick and nimble on their product development, but dealing with them, getting product and stuff, their lead times are high. We do react a lot quicker. We really struggle to see why a company has an 8-week lead time. We now control right from the beginning. We own the company that does all our injection molding. With good planning and stuff like that, we think a 3-week lead time, 4-week maximum should easily cover most things. If you're working as an export company and you've got an 8-week lead time and then you've got to get the product to them, you're talking anywhere up to 6 weeks if you're sea freighting, which is unacceptable. So I guess because of our geographic nature, we've got to be fast and nimble and have a point of difference, and that's our point of difference. It's speed to market with new product and reliability on supply. What tends to happen in these situations is that your opposition will release a product, so you'll release a product that combats that. We never copy, we always try to do something that will actually do the same job but a different concept or whatever. And what tends to happen is that when you've got 2 or 3 good companies in a category, it will drive that category up to a, you know, and the customer benefits hugely because they just get all these new products. And that's what happened with our previous company. We were pitting against a company called Blue Sea in the USA, and every time we would go to a show, they would be there, and the first thing they would do was come and check out what we had, and we would do the same with them, and it would each year, and that the marine electrical category was grown by those two, by our company and their company, significantly over a period of 10 years. Both companies had huge respect for each other. It was gloves off, but it was you know, healthy competition. Absolutely. If you've got opposition and that opposition is coming back at you with new and innovative products, you're obviously going to have to you know, change and compete, or else you're going to get left behind. So we're constantly driving for new innovations. And our sea tug kayak trolley is a big part of our business, and that's particularly paddle sports concentric, but that is a, you know, that's a big part of the business. But in the rest of it, our rod holder is one of our major products. So we are, you know, heavy in the fishing side of the market. So marine is by far our biggest market. We pushed fairly heavily into the farm market at one stage and had some good results getting product into dealers, but the farmers don't like to spend money. So we would starve if we tried to exploit that market with gadgets. Yeah. Electric propulsion in the boats becoming popular, not just in boats but in the kayaks as well. That would be the major one. Other than that, it's just sort of changing in styles of boats and that sort of thing. We have a product roadmap, and we have a 12-month out that we focus on, and then we have our out to about 5 years after that, sort of where we want to be. Sometimes they get shifted out further. Advantages are huge. When you go into the US market, it's very, very intimidating. You can sort of very easily get caught up and doubt yourself as to how you can compete in a market like that. It's so vast, big competition, companies with deep pockets and things like that. But the moment you step on the plane to come home, you forget about all that. Our geographic isolation is a huge, huge advantage. And it gets our line of thinking different. We don't get caught up in the line of thinking that everyone else seems to do. That's why I look for other avenues rather than following what they're doing. I think we have a good, healthy approach to innovation. We do tend to probably look outside the square, but so do the other countries. We haven't got that uniquely to ourselves. I think because we're a small population, it's a healthy view to innovation and that sort of thing, and we've definitely got some people that punch well above their weight, but it's not unique to us. I don't believe. I believe our costs are high, and we have to constantly mitigate that. We're constantly driving lean production methods to get our productivity to the maximum level. One of the biggest single issues that we have here is our geographical isolation goes against us with freight costs, so that's a big issue. So we've spent a lot of time getting our packaging as small as possible. When we first started RailBlaza, I got a little bit of a shock. The previous company I had, we were shipping expensive items, so air freight wasn't so much of a big issue. Suddenly these were multiple small, low-cost items taking up a reasonable amount of space, and the freight costs blew out. So very quickly we redesigned the packaging to get as much compression as we can, and sometimes we got it under 50%. It was huge. Your lean manufacturing cycle is all about using those people and getting them for the input, and so that once you get that psyche within your company where they are driving, you know, the innovation and the change and stuff, that the ideas flow, and it becomes a very good team approach to, you know, to reduce waste. Probably inflation in raw materials I see is going to start to become an issue. Inflation in general is starting to rear its head, I believe. It's still small at the moment, but you can just see the signs that, you know, wage growth and all that sort of thing. And wage growth is great, provided you can keep the productivity up to cover it. But if it's suddenly we've got massive wage growth and our productivity hasn't increased, well then we've got a big problem. So you know, we're all about trying to get as much productivity as we can so that we can pay top rates. You know, we don't pay minimum wage here or anything, or never have. We've always paid, you know, 15-20% above minimum wage. So it's a major issue, particularly with ours. We're not a not a high-tech product. So up until now, we've been able to attack most of the distributors that have been bringing the product into the country. The biggest threat we see now is the direct-to-market out of the likes of AliExpress. So trying to attack those people that are actually getting the counterfeit products into there. So it's a constant battle. We've had a few wins with eBay and stuff to get stuff brought down, but it's a constant battle. But we just keep innovating, keep ahead, keep bringing out new products, keep the brand fresh so that the experience with dealing with RailBlaza. And we keep our pricing such at a level that it's not too expensive. A lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, I've got a really good product, I'll put it in the market really high, and then people just come in underneath them and people will just run a mile because feel like they've been you know, ripped off, basically. So we have a value for money psyche. So when someone comes in and picks up a RailBlaza product, we don't want them to say, gee, that's expensive, or gee, that's cheap. We want to say, gosh, that's good value for money. So when we set pricing, that's how we set it. For small one-off type products and low production type products, 3D printing or additive manufacturing is definitely the future. For high volume type products that we're doing, where you need good engineering strength in the plastic, I think it'll be some time before the 3D printing will get to that level. Yeah, it was the company that has done our injection molding. We own all the injection molding tools, and they contract molded us for a number of years. And in 2016, the opportunity came for us to purchase that company, so we jumped at it, which has given us full vertical integration with our manufacturing. So we can really control our pricing, and if we do get a big volume customer in the US, we can be as competitive as anyone in the world. Well, working in the US market, the volumes are just amazing, you know. But a lot of people get quite scared of growth of their companies growing. We're the opposite. We're very happy to have growth, and those volumes bring about. You can drive innovation on your manufacturing to get your costs down, and it's amazing how quickly you can make the products. And it's really just about, you know, setting your company up for the growth. This business has been quite good to scale up. It's a case of we've driven labour times down extensively, so we've been able to produce, you know, double and triple the product with the same staff. And we continue to look at those, and then looking at smaller footprints for manufacturing and that sort of thing, so that we're not constantly having to go to a bigger and bigger building and more and more people. Part of our acquisition with the injection moulding company in Napier is that we will shift some high volume manufacture down there so that the product will come straight off machines and be assembled and manufactured. So that we, whilst we'll have a reasonable amount of growth in Auckland, major growth later on will probably go to the regions. So. Closeness to the market. We're active boaties. I'm on the water virtually every weekend, either surfing or sailing. So you're close to. We listen to our customers. We have what we call pro staffers that are out fishing, using our product, giving us regular feedback. So that's it's really listening to the market. The opportunities are abound. They come to you every day. You just got to listen. Social media is a big push, very strong on Facebook. YouTube was the by far the biggest help for us. In 2011, we did 3 product videos. Up until then, we'd been trying to explain how the product worked to people, and people just didn't get it. We did 3 videos: a paddle sports video, an inflatable boat video, and a powerboat video. And that was a turning point for the company. So we just kept producing videos, and now our YouTube channel is we get 20,000 views a month, and that's growing. And then all your pro staffers have their own Facebook presence, so it's becoming bigger and bigger. The brand ambassador, you pick brand ambassadors that have strong social media profiles, and that's how it works. USA is like a bunch of different countries in one. What works in the southern states, the way they boat, is completely different in the northern states or on the northeast or in the northwest. It's just completely different. So you have different approaches for different parts of the market. I've been, through my previous company and through this company, I've spent a lot of time in the market in the US. If you're going to export, you need to go to the markets. You need to find out, and you need to listen. You need to travel with the reps in the cars, go to the shows, get the feedback from the customers. There's just no beating that. I've kept it to a minimal with this company, to a minimum, but my previous company, it got out of hand. I was out of the country every month, either in USA or Europe or whatever. It's pretty brutal. But if you're really into it, you get in, you get it done, and then you can delegate to other people. What I've tended to do with this company is I have a very good representative based in England who does Europe for me, and I have a good US distributor, so I don't need to go there. I go to the US twice a year, I go to Europe once a year, and Australia 3 or 4 times a year. First rule in sales is to develop trust. And New Zealand is a company that does, I think people trust us. And you can abuse that very quickly if you don't do what you say you're going to do. But we work on that very heavily, and we have strong relationships with all our distributors. And if we say something, we do it, and we work very closely with them. And it's very important. They know that we know that it's very important that they make money out of our products. If someone's making money when they sell your products, they will work hard. So simple as that. Some people can't bear the fact that someone else makes money out of their products. So I talk to my US distributor sometimes every day. We use Skype extensively. I might be on the phone to them every day. I'm on the phone to Australia 2-3 times a week. Constant emails between my English, my European rep, and different distributors. So email flow is strong, and we tried. Mike Edgington, the operations manager, is very good at doing our newsletters and keeping people informed and that sort of thing. I think the danger that I see is suddenly when you get a person that's in your company that doesn't have the same values that you have, and they maybe don't treat, it becomes a bullying situation within the workplace that you don't necessarily see, but you'll see that you'll get feedback where you just jump on that incredibly fast. We just will not tolerate bullying or any of that side of things. It's not how I work, and it's not. We just have a zero tolerance to it. If you don't act really fast, you can get a toxic environment flow through your company very, very fast. And it's amazing, even when things are going well, all of a sudden, if a person, suddenly changes, or it can be a real problem. It's really incredibly important. So I have a saying, and you've probably heard it, fish rots from the head. If you don't keep from the yourself, showing the way you want it to be done, it's not going to happen. If you start doing bad things or whatever and bullying yourself, it's going to exude through the company. You'll exude a culture through. So lead by example. It's just very simple. Currency is always a big challenge for us, so we manage that as best we can. Oil, freight costs. Freight costs definitely are a constant concern. Keeping, as I mentioned before, we compressed our size of our goods down and things like that. You just got to look and see if something, if there's a trend in something, you need to work out. There's always a way around something. So, because we're a small company, we have an open plan office. Communication is strong. We don't typically have, we're not typically going into meetings every 5 minutes. But we also talk to our distributors and stuff, so that say, look, freight costs are going up, you need to be aware of this. In some cases with some of these companies, we have a guaranteed percentage that we won't go over, so we will subsidise freight in some cases. As we've got bigger, those subsidies have got less, we've been able to manage it better. Yeah. But it was definitely a major help for us in the early days. It gave our customers a constant cost, so they knew it wouldn't go over. It hurt us a little bit because on our margin, but it was what enabled our growth. Those people are facing the same challenges in their business as what you're facing in your own. So constant communication about how you're dealing with things and working, so they don't get any surprises. You can't just suddenly say, oh, you've got a 10% price increase coming through. They might have set their pricing for 12 months. Suddenly get a 10% price increase. That just doesn't work. You can't do that. We will just keep our growth going. We keep saying we'll have a consolidation year on product development, but the market keeps driving us to develop different stuff. So I can't see that happening. I would like to pull the percentage of development into line a little bit. Our development costs are quite high within this business, but we'll just keep going, new markets and market share. Our ROI is very good. We believe we've had some products haven't met great, they haven't done well, but others, 90% of them have done exceedingly well. So our ROI is fine. I think the key thing is if you're putting a product into the market, make sure you've got the pricing, that is correct. As some people put a margin, I have to have this margin, so they put that margin on the product, and it makes it too expensive, so it never sells in the market and they don't go anywhere. Rather than look at it, so what will this product sell in the market for? Set the price at that and work your way back from that to set your costs and work out if you can make it to sell it at that price and that sort of thing. And there may be other ways of making that product to reduce costs and things like that. You've got to keep visiting how you're doing things, to drive costs down. And I talk to my US distributor. I'll say, well, what do we need to? Where do we need to be price wise? And he's always low, okay. And I'll go no. the opposition price is down because it's been driven down because we've been selling it for many years. Everyone's selling it, so no one's making any money. No, we're going to be here. We're going to be 25% more expensive, and that's what we do in some, and that's pretty hard. And he'll say typically, no, it won't sell. I said, well, yeah, because it's still value for money, and the people are going to sell it, or the dealers are going to sell it because they're going to be making money on it instead of they're making $1 on something that should be making $5.
Yeah.
And so, and that's really held. So I've really held true on that and forced them to sell at a certain price, and it's sold. And because I know, you sort of get a feel of what, you don't want to sell too expensive, but you don't want to sell too cheap either. I want to know that they're profitable and making good money. Two things: if they're making good money off the product they're selling for you, they're going to be enthusiastic about it and sell more of it. If they're making money, they're going to be able to pay their bills.